Looking for healthy all-in-one dinner ideas that you can whip up in your air fryer? I got you. My name is Kathy, and yeah, you could call me your air fryer coach. Now, of course, everyone has their own definition of healthy. All I can say is these are yummy, made from scratch, all-in-one air fryer dinners. And guess what? I have a little news at the end of this video. It's kind of a little life update, so watch to the end if you're curious about that. Are you ready to see these healthy dinner ideas? Let's go. Up first, all-in-one teriyaki chicken and veggie dinner. So I've got some chicken breast thawing, and I just went and picked out some vegetables that I like, and I thought, hey, since I'm doing teriyaki, I thought it'd be kind of cool to see what happens with the stir-fry mixture. Now you can do store-bought teriyaki sauce, but I'm gonna make my own today. These are the ingredients I have. It's basically just a little marinade, and it's gonna be divine. So for the sauce, we're gonna start out with some pineapple juice. Now you could just buy any canned pineapple and use the juice from it, or I usually grab this 6-pack of these cute little cans. You need a 1/2 cup of juice, then some low sodium soy sauce. You'll just need a 1/3 cup, 1 tablespoon of molasses. I'm just gonna eyeball it. Whoops, there's a tablespoon of brown sugar in there, and 1 tablespoon of rice vinegar. You can use regular white vinegar if you don't have rice vinegar. And then you need about 2 cloves of garlic. I'm just using a teaspoon of the stuff from the jar and a 1/4 teaspoon of dried ginger. Then just whisk that all up together, and you can see this made a cup of homemade teriyaki sauce. Now it's time to chop up your veggies. It doesn't really matter what size you do them in, as long as you have them pretty uniform so they cook evenly. And boom, look how beautiful that is. I'm gonna drop all of that in the bowl, and you know what? That looks like enough. I don't think I'm even gonna dig into this one. I'll save this for another night. So I'm gonna just pour a little bit of the glaze over the top of the veggies and just stir that up so everybody gets some of that sauce coated on the veggies. Now here's where personal preference comes into play. If you like your veggies pretty crispy and crunchy, you're gonna just cook the chicken at the same time. But if you want your veggies a little more tender, we're gonna throw these in first. And to answer a couple of questions I've been getting, when you have holes in your basket and you don't want stuff to leak out, these silicone pots work out pretty great. So I'm gonna use it today since I have that runny sauce in there. And I'm just gonna put my veggies right in here. These do come in different sizes, and I list out all of the tools that I use at airfryertools.com. That'll take you to my Amazon shop and you can quickly find that. And I'm gonna crank this up to 380, and we're gonna start it out with about 10 minutes of cooking by itself. And while that's cooking, I'm gonna go ahead and prep the chicken breasts. Now, these are slightly frozen, so it actually makes them easier to cut into these nice little strips. And I'm just cutting them about 1/2 inch thick, which is pretty much the width of a finger. Then just drop your chicken into that same bowl, and I'm gonna pour some more of my teriyaki sauce. I do want to leave a little bit that I can turn into a glaze to serve with the dinner. So it's gonna get a little bit of marinade time while those veggies start their cooking process. And by the way, you could use steak or even some pork instead of chicken. Okay, the veggies are done. Well, partially done. And they do look beautiful. Now you'll notice that I didn't put any oil in this glaze. If you want to, you could still spray oil on these, but it's really not necessary. There also wasn't any salt and pepper added, so you could salt and pepper to taste. We still have room here on the sides, so it is still getting airflow. Anyway, this is optional. You can totally do this recipe without this. And actually, just to show you both ways, I'm gonna go ahead and dump this out. Oh, that's hot. Just so you can see how doable this is. So now with my partially cooked veggies, I'm just gonna lay the chicken right on top of the veggies. Now my chicken breasts were fairly large, so I do have extra here. I could layer this in, it just would require a little more stirring and probably a little more time. So I think I can just work in batches because this will cook up really quickly all on its own. So I'm gonna pop this back in, and I'm gonna put it back at 380. This time we'll run it for 8 more minutes. Okay, now you can see I've almost got a 1/2 cup of teriyaki sauce left. I'm gonna throw in about a teaspoon of cornstarch and just whisk that up. Then I'm literally just gonna microwave it. And we'll start with about 1.5 minutes. To make it even more of a meal, you could serve it over rice or even quinoa just to make it go a little further. And there we go. Boom, that sauce is perfectly done. Oh shoot, I was sitting here smelling it was smelling so good. And then I realized, oh, I didn't turn on my flip reminder. Since that chicken's right on top of the veggies, you do want to be sure to rotate that just so it cooks evenly on both sides. But oh my goodness, it's roasting and smelling so good. Can't believe how easy this one is. There we go. We'll let that finish. All right. Oh goodness, look at that. And we'll just check that internal temperature. Yep, we are just right where we need to be. I'm just gonna pour this prepared portion into a serving dish. So gorgeous. And I'm just gonna cover it to keep it nice and warm. And then same thing, this will only need 8 minutes here at 380 and everything will be served nice and hot. And if you're feeling overwhelmed by your air fryer, I am hosting a 5-day Use Your Air Fryer challenge. It's gonna help busy people prepare fast, healthy meals in their air fryer. You can learn more about that at airfryerchallenge.com. And that chicken, just gonna add it to the rest of it. And dinner is ready.
Oh.
Okay, so there's some extra teriyaki sauce. It makes it fantastic.
That good?
Go.
Tastes pretty good without.
Oh my goodness, that seasoning is something else.
It's homemade. No?
Oh wow.
I only like the chicken by itself.
So you don't like the teriyaki sauce?
Cut me
I love
another
the teriyaki sauce. Super
You
good.
love the teriyaki sauce. How many stars do you give this dinner?
piece. Me?
Easily 5. That's the easiest 5 ever.
You gave it 5?
Well, 4 because I don't like that, but I like the chicken.
Booyah.
Can I eat all of this?
Yes, you may. You're gonna find this next one on page 86 of my cookbook. You can learn more about this at yummyairfryrecipes.com. Here I've got just over a pound of chicken tenders. If you're using chicken breast, just cut them into some slices. And then this delicious marinade. It's just a 1/4 cup of avocado oil, 3 cloves of garlic minced, and then a tablespoon of low sodium soy sauce. And now it's time for the honey. You know I love to use my scale. You'll need a total of 3 tablespoons. That's about 63 grams of honey. Be patient and squeeze that out. Then whisk it all together. Then get your chicken and toss it in the bowl with the marinade, and you can let that sit while you chop up some veggies. And the veggies I'm using today is some broccoli, and I am quick and lazy about my chopping process. It doesn't have to be pretty here, folks, just make them bite-sized. And then I have some mini red potatoes, and I'm just cutting them in half. If you have larger red potatoes, just cut them so they're about 1 inch cubed. I think green beans or zucchini would also be delicious with this meal. Then just pop all the veggies into the air fryer and then mist it with some oil. I just poured on a tablespoon or 2 and stirred it all up. Excuse my messy kitchen here. Then I threw on some salt and pepper, and then I'm just gonna lay the chicken right on top of the veggies and then drizzle all the rest of the glaze right over the top of all of that. And then we're gonna pop it in the air fryer at 350 for 14 minutes. Here we go at 7 minutes is my little reminder here to flip that chicken. Pop it back in. I love how it just starts right back up for me. And here we go, 14 minutes later, chicken is perfectly done. I'm going to set this in foil and let it rest. And while it rests, I'm gonna finish cooking up my veggies. And this is where you just test one out and see how tender it is and decide how much longer you want. And I decided to go 350 for about 10 more minutes. And here we go. I probably did cook that a little too long. My broccoli is pretty crunchy, but my kids actually really liked it. Now this one is an easy dinner that you can make ahead of time. And it's on page 47 of my cookbook. Wash up those peppers, and then you'll just cut off the tops, de-seed them, and cut them in half lengthwise. Now, of course, traditionally stuffed peppers are cut so that they're standing nice and tall, but since we're making these for the air fryer, we cut them in half lengthwise. That way the tops won't be too close to the burner and they won't burn quickly. All right, my meat has cooked, it is cooled, and I got all the grease out of it using Julia Pacheco's paper towel or a spoon trick. And I'm just gonna throw in about 2 tablespoons of taco meat and stir that up. Now we're gonna add everything to the mixture. There's my 1 cup of cooked rice, and that is just a ½ cup of regular uncooked rice. It cooks up to be a cup. And my 3 green onions that I chopped earlier. And I've got a ½ cup of black beans that I rinsed out, and a cup of corn, and a cup of cheese. And now I have a nice whole lot of filling here to fill up my peppers. Filling this up is pretty simple. I'm just gonna use my gloved hand, but one little trick to help it kind of stick together more is to get a little water in there. It just kind of helps it come a little bit more squishy and stuck together. And it's just easier to stuff your peppers with your hand, and it's just messy, so I like to wear the glove. And then I'm gonna put it down on some parchment paper on a cookie sheet. Just fill these up. It's gonna depend on the size of your peppers. If you have large ones, you'll probably have less peppers you can fill. And if they're smaller ones, you might end up with some extra meat mixture. And if that's the case, you really could just enjoy this on some tacos tonight. And boom, there are my stuffed peppers. I actually ended up getting 5 of them filled, so I do have an extra, and that's okay, it'll still get eaten. And then because I'm gonna freeze these, I'm going to individually wrap them in plastic. That's just gonna protect them from the freezer and keep them nice and fresh. Okay, these peppers are super awesome because I wrap them individually. They thaw out a little more quickly, and I can just pull these out even the morning of and use them later on for dinner or for lunches. Take them out of the wrap, pop them in your air fryer. And because there's cheese involved, I did snag my parchment paper. Pop it in the air fryer, and we will go 350 for 10 minutes. Oh, that looks really good. We want to add some cheese, but I'm also going to take a peek and just see how it's heating up. And oh, these are going to be perfect. I'm going to throw a little cheese on here. We'll pop it back in and run it for just about 5 more minutes. Let's take these out, and they are done. And this is why I love parchment paper. And if you got picky eaters that gross out at the thought of peppers, get a tortilla, scoop the filling out right on the top of it, and I'll just eat the pepper. Here's a quick and easy lunch for me. This one can be ready in 15 minutes, and guess what? Yep, it's on page 87. So this will be the busiest part, just cubing up some chicken. You want about 1 pound of chicken breast in cubes, and then you're just gonna add in about 10 to 12 ounces of frozen veggies, any mix you want. Now my veggie mix here is 20 ounces, so I'm just gonna add half the bag in there. Now you'll add in 2 minced garlic cloves or a teaspoon of the jarred stuff. And we love garlic, so we've got another ½ teaspoon of garlic, a ½ teaspoon of chili powder, a ½ teaspoon of salt, a ½ teaspoon of pepper, and a whopping tablespoon of Italian seasoning. And then throw in a tablespoon of oil and just stir it all up. I like to stir it in a bowl because that way I don't lose any spices if I just do this right in the air fryer. And dump it right into the air fryer. Then just level out the vegetables and the chicken. Pop it in the air fryer. We're gonna do 400 Fahrenheit for 10 minutes. All right, we're 5 minutes in. Let's take a peek. Chicken's cooking. Wow, and I'm smelling all of those spices. And we'll let it finish cooking. And this one is done. Since everybody cuts their chicken in different sizes, I'm just gonna take a check on my internal temp here. It is close, but not quite close enough. So I'm gonna throw it back in. Probably, it's close. 2 more minutes. At 400. All right, check it out. This one looks fantastic. And now we've got it up to 160, and then it will rest and come to temperature and be perfect to eat. Now you could do fresh veggies if you want, but a good frozen blend works out so great in the air fryer, and it saves a lot of time. Let's take a bite of this. It's packed with the flavor. I definitely give this one 5 stars because, oh my goodness, dinner ready in 15 minutes is the bomb diggity. Okay, don't be quick to rule this one out. You won't believe how yummy it is. And yes, it's on page 48. For this one, you just need about 1 pound of meat, some onion, obviously some zucchini, some marinara or spaghetti sauce, and your favorite kind of cheese. But I'm making it even easier. I've got leftover spaghetti sauce, I got my zucchini, and my cheese. Okay, so if you don't have spaghetti sauce leftovers like I do, just cook up your ground beef or turkey and add your favorite spaghetti sauce and season it the way you like to. I usually always add onions and garlic and even garlic powder in my spaghetti sauce. Then give that zucchini a good little wash. Cut it in half lengthwise and just scoop out those seeds. Place them in your air fryer. I'm gonna pat them dry just a little bit. Sprinkle on some sea salt and lightly mist with oil. If you have larger zucchinis that are growing from your garden, you'll probably have to cut those down and they might take longer to cook. But for this size, I'm gonna go with 380 and at about 10 minutes, and we'll add more time as needed. Let's see how they look. Beautiful. We can just check for doneness. Oh, perfect. Just tap that fork in there and it just goes through nicely. I'm just gonna dab up some of the moisture from the zucchini, then spoon in some spaghetti sauce, and then just sprinkle on some yummy cheese. I'm using mozzarella. You could use Parmesan or whatever else you love. We're gonna pop this back in the air fryer at 380 for just about 2 more minutes. Let's take a peek. Oh, look, it's so beautiful. This is such a great low carb option for dinner. And for the taste test, so good. Oh, he loves it.
So good.
He loves it.
It's so good. Bussin'.
Plus, and here's my news for you. Next week, we're starting a kitchen remodel. Yes, I'm like terrified, but super excited. Yes, this is a newer house. We're gonna recycle a lot of these materials, but the function of this kitchen just has not been working, especially for filming. See, dark, white, it's crazy. But I've got my air fryer. It's gonna help us survive having no kitchen for about 3 weeks. And these next few videos, well, you're gonna see me living life in chaos. So make sure you hit the bell notification because I post new videos every Saturday morning. And if you need more healthy air fryer recipes, I got a bunch right here for you. And I think you're gonna like this one as well. Thanks for watching. I'll see you on the next video.